On today's episode of WGTV, big changes await Texas drivers. A chef doesn't let his disease affect his passion and hobbies, and a father-son bond drives both teamwork and growth. These stories and more on this episode of WGTV. Good afternoon, Wildcats, and thank you for tuning into this episode of WGTV. Live from the Grove, I'm Camila Salinas.
And I'm Tyler Medeiros.
We have many exciting stories cooking up, but first, Tyler's going to catch you up on what's been happening at the Grove. Tyler?
Thanks, Camila. Counselors have started meeting with students to discuss their schedules for the next school year. Students will be sent an email detailing the date and period their meeting occurs. The email will also specify the counselor they're matched with. HOSA is hosting a Carter Blood Drive this Thursday, the 13th. The drive will be held in the LGI from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. All donors must be over 16 years old and have a permission slip signed by your parents or guardians. These forms can be found outside of room 1103 in the English hallway. Prosper ISD may be getting some more competition soon. In Salina, a $2.3 billion bond proposes a second high school alongside middle and elementary schools. According to a community impact bond committee member, Ben Hain-Gardner, stated, "A vote for this bond is a vote for the future of Salina ISD." Back to Prosper, while Raymond Community Park is still under construction, Prosper is planning an all-new community park and trails. Doe Branch Park is currently in the design phase, but is estimated to start construction before winter ends. The park will have 1.5 miles of walking trails.
Car inspections have been required in the state of Texas since 1977. An inspection usually includes checking your tires, brakes, emissions, and more. However, there's been a shift in this requirement that will now only include emission testing that measures the amount of greenhouse gases emitted by your vehicle. Jackson Kingerski has the story.
Texas has officially ended its requirement for state annual vehicle inspections. Instead, the focus is now on emissions testing in order to meet federal air quality standards. That means that when you renew your car registration, the only test you're going to be needing is an emissions check. While this makes registration easier, drivers now have more responsibility for their own vehicle safety. However, this change is more impactful for the average driver than the average business.
The change doesn't impact the business necessarily. It mainly impacts the individual and the consumer. So instead of us doing the admission and safety portion of the test, we only perform the admissions test. We need to be more sensitive and provide the customer with better information so they can have an accurate depiction of what's going on with their vehicle so they do not face fines or tickets or anything of that sort while driving on the road.
Critics believe that removing safety inspections could lead to more vehicles on the road with potentially dangerous mechanical issues. However, supporters of the change argue that shifting to emissions testing streamlines the registration process and reduces unnecessary steps for drivers.
I don't think emission testing really is all that necessary because it doesn't really stop the vehicle from driving. It just, for O2 and emissions and stuff like that, for your car to pass inspection, say California, some other states that have strict emissions. And when you have that, then you can't drive your car and you can't go anywhere and your car gets towed. So in my personal opinion, I don't think it's necessary because it doesn't do all that harm.
While the new law aims to align Texas with federal environmental regulations, the debate over its impact on road safety and convenience continues. For now, drivers will need to adjust to the updated requirements as the state moves forward with this new approach to vehicle regulation. Reporting for WGTV, I'm Jackson Kingerski.
Only drivers with cars between 2 and 25 years old will need to bring their vehicles to an authorized testing facility before renewing their registration. Vehicle owners can check their county-specific requirements on the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles website.
In Texas news, Dallas is currently weeping for the trade of Dallas Mavericks player Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. The trade shocked many people, both in and out of the NBA, such as LeBron James, who, according to ESPN, believed it to be a hoax initially. And while drama around the NBA stays hot, the state of Texas did too. Last week, Texas was hit with a warm front that resulted in temperatures in the 70s and 80s. However, after the weekend, Punxsutawney Phil's prophecy of 6 more weeks of winter came into play, as temperatures have returned to normal February weather and are expected to stay this way in the weeks to come.
Living with diabetes is no easy feat, but for one chef, it's not a barrier for his passions. Christopher Munchmeyer has the story.
Despite being diagnosed with diabetes at such a young age, Chef Denman spends his time powerlifting. Along with teaching culinary arts, he trains relentlessly, working toward his goal of becoming Texas's strongest man.
To be able to say, I'm the strongest man in Texas would be awesome. Really hoping to make that dream come true. For me to be able to go in and perform and walk out of there, hopefully as the champion, that would mean a lot.
According to the World Health Organization, diabetes is a common autoimmune disease that over 830 million people have. Chef Denman is one of many who power through this challenging illness.
Most kids have type 1 diabetes, where that means that their pancreas no longer produces insulin. And insulin is a hormone that's necessary to grab onto the sugar molecule in your blood and pull it into your cells. So we use glucose and sugar for energy.
With less than the average person's insulin, he hopes to influence the youth and his students through his hard work and dedication.
If I can have enough success as a strongman, other kids with diabetes could see that and think, if he can do that, I can do anything, is really kind of the hope.
Also, being a culinary teacher is one of the ways he presents his commitment to his craft. Chef Denman proves that labels are not the only thing that defines someone. WGTV, I'm Christopher Munchmeyer.
Get the heavy cream out, and you've got a thought.
All while inspiring his students, Chef Denman continues to strive in both the kitchen and the powerlifting room. He's competing in a strongman competition in April with the hopes of getting the title of Texas Strongest Man. From the kitchen to the court, Sharika Call is in studio for your sports recap. Sharika?
Thanks, Camilla. Walnut Grove's boys basketball team got their victory on the backs of several key players, but it was Parker Evanson out in front who went 6 of 13 to rack up 20 points and 8 rebounds. The match was Evanson's third in a row with at least 16 points. The team also got some help courtesy of Byron Scott, who went 6 for 13 on his way to 16 points. Walnut Grove's win was their third straight at home, which pushed their record up to 26-9. The Wildcats challenged the Lions at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Girls basketball has been a dominant force this season, but they're in the middle of a mini slump. They were 4 points away from ending the streak, but they lost a 38-34 heartbreaker at the hands of the Anna Coyotes, and then again against Melissa 34-28. For the first round of the playoffs, the girls played against Tyler, but ended up losing 47-41 against them, ending their playoff run. This past weekend, the Wildcat swim and dive team traveled down to Houston and competed in regionals. The boys were named regional champs, with the girls just barely missing their first place podium, getting a runner-up finish. Individual state qualifiers are Graydon Barker, Nathaniel Washburn, Joey Kirkman, Will McWard, Carter Rank, Amy Paula, Morgan Farlow, Michael Morabito, Mackenzie Stewart, and Ella Glass. All 3 boys and girls relay teams are also advancing. The state championship will be held at the University of Texas in 2 weeks. Moving to the field, girls soccer has been hard at work, starting with a 2-0 win against McKinney North, followed by another win, this time 3-1 against Anna. Girls soccer record is now 11-1. The boys soccer team has also stayed dominant, as they started with a 0-0 tie against McKinney North, but a big 3-1 rebound win over Anna, advancing to 11-2 on the season, and is currently ranked 6th in the state of Texas according to Max Preps. A father and son's bond is shaping a Walnut Grove soccer player's journey both on and off the field. Hudson Acosta has the story.
Sports can be a constant competition, but for one Walnut Grove soccer player, it's more than a rivalry. It's a bond that shapes his team and his family life. Junior midfielder Mason Kutch isn't just playing for his team, but his dad, who also happens to be the coach.
Hey, Kel, you can run the line.
I feel like I wouldn't be in the position that I am now without my team and also my dad being the coach or just being my #1 supporter. So I feel like both of it has to play a big role into our success over the seasons. As a family, we're all really close, and I just feel like a lot of it is because of soccer. He got me into soccer and everything, so I feel like it's a good bond.
But balancing family life and the game isn't always easy.
Open up, open up, open up! Sometimes our issues here at practice would roll over to issues at home, which it should never have been the case. Over the years, as he's matured and learned to just take constructive criticism, it's gotten a lot easier on those conversations.
What started as on-field conflicts has transformed into an easier balance between life and the game.
You know, as a father, you try to guide your child to achieve things better than you, and he's definitely gone through that challenge as far as, already verbally committing to go play D1 soccer. So looking forward to that new chapter as soon as high school's over with. But in the meantime, I'm enjoying every single moment.
Mason is looking ahead to college at DePaul University, cherishing the memories made and excited for the ones still to come. For WGTV, I'm Hudson Acosta.
Mason and the varsity team has their next game later today at 7:30 against Melissa. That's all for your sports recap. For WGTV, I'm Sharka Call. Back to you, Camilla and Tyler.
Thank you, Sharka. That's all we have for today's episode. For WGTV, I'm Talon Medeiros.
And I'm Camila Salinas. Thanks for watching, and remember, Wildcats, set the standard.